Hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey. What you got for us, Doug? Mike Penny. Every time he starts a show, he goes, hey, hey, hey.
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway.
Now, clearly I'm not a conspiracy theorist.
Because we're never dropping out.
I do like to talk about conspiracy theories, but I don't really believe any of them. But if there's no clients, how the fuck was Ghislaine Maxwell convicted? What was she convicted on? Thousands of girls and no client. They were all just Jeffrey Epstein. Why did he buy an island and invite people over? Pam Bondi's got the client list on her desk, and then a month later, there is no list. That's wild. And the two podcasters that are now in charge of the FBI made their career on this. Epstein didn't kill himself. We know it. The Democrats, they won't release it. Now they're like, everything the Democrats said was accurate.
Hey Daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome everybody. We are back in the studio. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I'm Will Bird. This is Cold Beer Confessional. We are back from vacation. Had a good vacation. Ate too much. Spent way too much money. But it is what it is. You know, what are you going to do, right? We weren't going to take a vacation at all just because we can't afford it right now. We haven't worked back since September. I haven't been paid for work since September. And we had disaster unemployment. That ran out the first week of April. No income coming in, so we just couldn't afford it. And then my aunt called and said, hey, we can do this. We got a beach house. And it's a really nice beach house. It's 5 bedrooms. It's really 7 bedrooms. But it was, it had 2 offices, upstairs office and a downstairs office. They converted both of those to bedrooms. So at one time, it was me and my family of 4. My sister, her family of 3, and then the aunt that owns the house, her family of 4. So that's 8, 11. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There was 18 people in the house. But we had fun. Oliver woke up this morning and says, man, I wish we were still in Florida. And I'm like, yeah, can't argue with you there. But I was like, well, yeah, but, you know, a vacation special. If we always were on vacation, it wouldn't feel as good to take a vacation. You know what I mean? We get used to it. We wouldn't appreciate it. And he's like, yeah, I understand. But it was fun. They live in a community. If you didn't watch, I know some people didn't watch my Twitch-only streams. They live in a community that's called a master plan community. Everything's in the community. It's got all the amenities and restaurants and gas stations and schools and hospitals and a fire department. It's everything there. So you don't really have to leave the community. We did because we went to the beach. It's about 9 miles from the beach, I think is what they said. And the closest beach is Amelia Island. Yeah, that's where we went. And hung out there for a day. We got to go to the beach today. We did the, what is that called? Hibachi restaurant. That's what Stephanie, my sister, came up with because her daughter and Liam both had a birthday. Liam's birthday is the 5th and Lucy's birthday is the 6th. So we went out and that was kind of like dinner and a show. And we got a small cake that we just enjoyed at home. We hung out in the pool. We went swimming. It was fun. Wasn't bad. It was fun. I hope we get to go back down there again. That place is really fun. One of the coolest things was there's like trails everywhere. Bike trails, golf cart trails, walking trails. So I rode the one wheel all over the place. I got Mariah to ride with me some, but where she hasn't ridden in a while, and all she had was sandals, her feet were hurting. So she could ride for a little bit, then she had to stop and take a break. But I rode all over the place, to the gas station, to the pool, around the block, to a pond. I just rode everywhere. If there's a trail, I took it, and then when it came out on the other side, I figured out where I was at and went back to the house. They've got a golf cart their lot, their house is obviously super nice. Their lot is like one of the better lots because there's nobody in front of them. There's like a little mini park. It's just like the center of a cul-de-sac, like a loop. And it's grass and it's for community use. There's a pond behind them, so there's nobody behind them. And they only have one neighbor on one side because they're like a corner lot. But most corner lots have somebody behind you or in front of you or whatever. But not there. They got a decent lot, very nice house. The whole thing was nice. So there you go. My sister flew down. I kind of wish we would have flew. I know I couldn't take my one wheel and a lot less stuff if we'd have flew, but driving back, dude, it's a 6 hour and 45 minute drive if you don't like stop and go in and eat. Like we always stop and go inside and eat because the kids make a mess. But on the way down, we had a flat tire. Of course, that's part of the bird curse. Both air compressors at the truck stops I stopped at were both broken. They didn't work. Couldn't get air in the tire and it was going flat. So I had to put on the spare. Drive 5.6 miles to a Tractor Supply, buy tools, plug the tire, the full-size tire. I wish Mariah's car's an SUV, but there's not many cars that have a full-size spare in them anymore. They all have the damn donut. And I was terrified to put that like on the interstate. So I found a backwards way to the closest. I was looking for a parts store, like an O'Reilly's or an Auto Parts or AutoZone or Advance. But I ended up finding a Tractor Supply first. Plugged the tire, made sure it held air, changed it all back, and then got back on the road. That probably added 2 hours to the trip on the way down. And then on the way back, it's basically, there's only two interstates. You take 95 all the way up to where it hits 26, like towards Columbia in South Carolina, and then you take 26 all the way to my house. So it's not easy to get lost. But fucking, I guess Asheville has parts of 26 closed at night for construction. So we get all the way up to Asheville, which is only like an hour from the house. All the way up to Asheville, we have to take an exit, take state routes, take back roads through towns all over the place, around the backside of Biltmore. And we finally end up going all the way around Asheville and hopping out on 40 on the other side of Asheville than the side we were on. It was a pretty wild detour, but whatever. We made it eventually. Got back on the interstate. Made it home. We got home at like 12:30 last night. I think I text everybody at like 12:20, but that was when we were just getting off our exit. So it probably took another 5-10 minutes to get home, 12:30, something like that. And all we did was bring a few bags in and went straight to bed. That was it. And then today, Mariah started unpacking, went to the grocery store, and went and got our cat. We had left our cat at her mom's house, so we're back getting settled now. We'll see how it works out. I don't know. I didn't cover any politics. I just did live streams there at the thing, or on my aunt's back porch, and hung out by the pond or whatever. But what's happened? A lot of stuff has happened. We got the big, beautiful bill. We got people fucking around and finding out, so that's pretty crazy. The Epstein list doesn't exist anymore, even though that's all they've talked about ever since forever, is the Epstein list. And now that's not a thing, apparently. So that's pretty wild. Let's see. I don't know why my app where I store my links keeps freezing, dude. It's pissed me off. What's up, Jen? Thank you guys for watching the show, supporting us while we were gone. I put most of everything that we did down there on a credit card. I just had to pay it off. But your donations came in handy. We use them to do fun things, buy things for the boys, hang out, eat, make gas, everything. So thank you for those that donated. Hopefully we get back to work soon to be in a little better shape, but we'll see. Let's start here. MAGA right now.
So let me get this straight. You're telling me after all these years, after basing my whole personality around finding out who's on the Epstein list, after all these years of saying Jeffrey Epstein didn't unalive himself, and you got to say it that way because on social media you can't say suicide. without people getting sad, and then they ban your account after years of saying protect the children. After saying there was a list, we have a list, it's on my desk, the list is coming out, here's phase 1, there's more to come. Now they're saying there was never any list. Now they're saying there was never any kids, and Epstein didn't unalive himself, and Ghislaine Maxwell's in prison for 20 years because of unpaid parking tickets. To all that I say, well, shit, I believe it. I really do. I mean, after all, I'm easily led astray. And I mean, this is my favorite game, my conspiracy theory improv. Everybody knows the first rule to conspiracy theory improv is yes and.
Yes, and.
Crazy shit with no proof, and I just say yes and. Shovel more of that in my mouth. Yes, sir. Can I have some more, sir? It's like, whose line is it anyway? But with tinfoil hats, it's where everything's made up and the points don't matter. Only loyalty matters, but you just gotta roll with the crazy. Even though it don't make no sense. So when QAnon happened and then nothing happened, I said yes and. And when January 6th happened and then nothing happened, I said yes and. And when they released the JFK and the MLK files, guess what? Yes and. And now there's no Epstein list, and Jeff Epstein didn't unalive himself. I say, yes, and I'm gonna have to change my whole personality and get a tattoo covered up, but yes, and
Get a tattoo covered.
why would they lie?
I have to get a tattoo covered up. Guy Epstein didn't kill himself on my forearm.
I'm gonna have to change my whole personality and get a tattoo covered up, but yes, and I mean, why would they lie? Why would they lie about something like? Why would they tell a lie? Why would they cover up something like?
There's a video of Alex Jones where he's about to puke and he's crying and he's like, I'm gonna vomit, and he's like crying with all the good this administration has done for the nation. I can't believe they're hiding this from us. Wild, dude. But did Trump ever give any signs that maybe he was gonna hide the Epstein list? Well, yeah, a little bit.
What indication has Trump ever given that there may be things within those Epstein files that may be concerning to him?
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Yep.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Yep.
Would
I
you,
did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
Yes, I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there.
Weird. We made fun of this when it came out. He was like, yes, and I did. Yes. Well, yeah, I think so. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of fake stuff in there.
A lot of phony stuff in there. You can put anything in a file, say anything about anybody. By the way, just for the record, asking a 17-year-old masseuse if she's planning on staying in the United States, that's a legitimate question. And the rest of the video is AI. If there's a video. My favorite moment was when the head of the FBI, Kash Patel, found out Elon accused Trump of being on the Epstein list live while podcasting.
Does he know that Donald Trump's in the Epstein files? Or does he have access to the Epstein files?
I don't know how he would, but I'm just staying out of the Trump Elon thing. That's way outside my lane.
What the f*** are they doing?
I know my lane and that ain't it.
Outside of my lane? You're the director of the FBI, bro.
Not your lane? Aren't you literally in charge of the Epstein files? I know my lane. I'm just a guy in charge of law enforcement domestically. Conspiracies, crimes, cover-ups. Home Depot parking, overcrowding.
It's out of my lane, baby. What did Don Jr. ever say about it?
I'm fine with all the other lists. As long as I'm not on the Epstein list, we're good, right?
Well, we'll never know. There isn't one, remember?
Speaking of which, how is it that my father can be convicted of 34 crimes, but no one on Epstein's list has even been brought to light? I'm trying to figure
That's still the thing, right?
out how that's possible, right, folks? It's almost like they're trying to protect those pedophiles for some reason. I can't imagine why.
It is a Trump cult. 100%. It's the cult of Trump. This is from Newsgirl.
Jeffrey Epstein took his own life in his... There is no Epstein list. Jeffrey Epstein took his own life in his jail cell while awaiting trial. No other high-profile people are going to be charged in connection with any of Epstein's crimes, and no further disclosure would be appropriate or warranted. And that's the end of it. That's the final word in this memo from the Trump administration's Department of Justice and FBI, which was just released.
No way.
Oh, and they also released this footage of the outside of Epstein's jail. Instead of closing the book on the Epstein case, what just happened only raises more questions. So here's what's going on. The Department of Justice and the FBI just released this short page-and-a-half memo along with video of outside of Jeffrey Epstein's cell. If you want to read this memo and you want to see this video for yourself, I'm going to email the documents out to you in my Fax HQ email tonight. So make sure you sign yourself up. According to the memo, the FBI and the DOJ are re-releasing the video that we've seen before, except now they have enhanced it, they've balanced the color, and improved the sharpness. So
most people don't know this. They're claiming the administration has released this. We've already seen this video. It's a video. It cuts out for 1 minute. It's the video that's existed the entire time.
Can have greater clarity and viewability. The video is being released again to show that no one could have entered Jeffrey Epstein's cell after he was locked in about 10:40 p.m. on August 9th.
What sucks is, again, there's a minute of the video missing. So conspiracy theorists are going to jump on that and say, there's a minute missing. And the administration is saying, oh, that 1 minute, exactly 1 minute that's missing is like a, and I believe this, is like a, like the system resets for 1 minute, right? And there's a minute missing every night at that exact same time. That's when the system does some type of process where it loads or whatever. And I believe that. The problem is, even if you tell, and Pam Bondi said she's going to release like other days, and it'll show that that same 1 minute is missing. The problem is, if you give that conspiracy theorist, they're going to say, yeah, well, but the guys that were going to kill Epstein knew that that minute is missing every fucking time. That's when they went in. That's when they got out. That's when they did their thing.
It's 9th of 2019. This memo says the Trump administration has conducted an exhaustive review of the investigative holdings related to Jeffrey Epstein.
What's up, man?
They have found the same thing that officials in New York and the Biden administration found back in 2023. Nothing to see here. And the Trump DOJ and FBI said, consistent with prior disclosures, Epstein harmed more than 1,000 victims. The only documents that have
1,000 victims all by himself.
Not been disclosed to the public are being withheld.
Bought an island all for himself.
To protect.
Had a handler all for himself. She went to jail all for himself.
Victims. The FBI says those documents did not expose any additional third parties to allegations of illegal wrongdoing. The FBI memo goes on to say their systematic review revealed no incriminating client list. There was also no credible evidence.
Oh, support the show at Colbert.fund. We greatly appreciate it. Colbert.fund, where you can help me make back some of the money I shouldn't have spent on the vacation. I appreciate it.
Found that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals as part of his actions. We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. So if that's true, then why did Attorney General Pam Bondi bring a bunch of influencers over to the White House and give them huge binders?
Why did they make this publicity stunt? The Epstein Files, page 1. Why did she go? Why did she go on Fox News when they said, "Oh, there's been a lot of talk about this Epstein client list. Do you guys plan on releasing the Epstein client list?" And she said, "Yes, it's on my desk right now."
Of so-called Epstein documents, to only have to later reveal that there was nothing new in those binders and then have to try and clean it up by going on Fox News in late February and claiming that the Epstein list.
Yes, so apparently every night the thank you. Every night, thank you for the gifted sub. Every night the security cam footage skips from 11:58 to midnight. There's 1 minute missing in there.
Was on her desk to review. Fox News' White House reporter asked the White House press secretary today to try and clean that up.
So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk?
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General said in that interview with your network on Fox News.
Got the quote.
Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what
he didn't ask him
was referring to. And
he didn't ask about the file. He didn't ask about the Epstein file, right? He said they might be releasing a list of the clients, a Jeffrey Epstein client list. And she said, yes, it's sitting on my desk right now to review. That was her response. Then she went on to say, the something JFK files, you know, the MLK file, all those files are there as well. But the question was about the fucking client list.
I'll let her speak for that. But again, when it comes
Facebook's fucking insane.
The FBI and the Department of Justice, they are more than committed to ensuring that bad people are put behind bars. They have an operation going on right now called Summer Heat, which has our murder rate trending in the lowest direction in United States history. Their emphasis on violent crime and locking up violent criminals has...
So now, as a distraction, because no one fucking trusts the FBI now at all, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, they fucking hate them. They're calling for them to resign, saying they've been bought and paid for. They're part of it. They won't call out dear leader. Most of them won't call out their dear leader, Trump. But they'll call out everybody else, right? So now they're opening an investigation into James Comey and John Brennan as like a publicity stunt.
Led to the arrest of 14,000 violent criminals. That's a 62% increase from the same time period last year. So this Attorney General and the FBI Director are committed to putting bad people behind bars where they belong. They promised an exhaustive review. That's what they did. For any further details, I would refer you to the Department of Justice.
You can decide for yourself if you think that's a good answer or a bad answer or an answer at all. Obviously, this memo is raising a lot of questions, but also raising questions is that video that was included with the memo. Again,
Trump doesn't even want reporters asking about it anymore. I'll show you the video in a second. But he's like, are you still talking about this Epstein guy? Bro, you campaigned on it.
DOJ and the FBI say it proves that no one went into Epstein's cell at the Shoe in New York after he was locked in on August 9th of 2019. They re-released the same video that we've seen, but just like before.
I can believe the guy basically knew it was up. He knew the evidence. He knew he wasn't going to walk away with this. He knew he was going to be plastered everywhere. He knew he was going to prison. He killed himself or attempted to kill himself, and we had two lazy guards who fell asleep. I can believe all that.
Or if you watch closely, a full minute is missing from that video. Watch as the timestamp jumps from
11:58
to 12 a.m. and 1 second. What happened?
11:58 and 58 seconds to 12 a.m. and 1 second is the jump. It's a 1 minute jump.
At 11:59 p.m. That has still not been cleared up.
Released yesterday in Jeffrey Epstein, it left some lingering mysteries. One of the biggest ones is whether he ever worked for a American or foreign intelligence agency. The former Labor Secretary, who was Miami U.S. Attorney Alex Costa, he allegedly said that he did work for an intelligence agency. So could you resolve whether or not he did? And also, could you say why there was a minute missing from
this arm you see here behind chat? That's Trump.
The jailhouse tape on the minute set?
Yeah, sure. If
Could I just interrupt for 1 second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
You made a podcaster who talked about Jeffrey Epstein every day. The deputy director of the FBI. You mentioned it in your rallies and in your campaign, and your sons talked about it, and your administration talked about it, and she said it was on her desk, and that's all you've been... You made this gigantic fucking Twitter influencer phase 1 rollout of the Epstein files that was absolutely nothing new. It was shit that Biden released when he was in office. A big deal, right? Photo ops, and we're all standing here holding the books and no secrets and the most transparent administration. And now he's like, are you guys still talking about that Epstein guy? Never heard of her. He's dead? I didn't even know he was sick.
This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And
yeah, they said that so we just saw the press secretary, Carolyn Levitt. Conspiracy Twitter is saying that she's lying, and they really do have the Epstein list, and they're using it to blackmail Congress to make them vote the way they want to because she wasn't wearing her cross necklace today.
Are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable.
The creep that you were really good friends with, remember? You said he likes them young, maybe a little bit too young, but we both like beautiful women.
Do you want to waste the time and you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
I think Sandy Besh is bought and paid for.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said I was asked a question about the client list.
You were asked specifically, will this administration release Epstein's client list? And you said, it's on my desk for review right now.
It's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file.
The entire file. When you say client list, I think the 12,000 page file is what you mean.
Along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were.
So the tens of thousands of videos were not even him committing acts or his clients committing acts. It was just child porn that he downloaded on the internet. Because his 10,000 victims weren't enough. He just downloaded random child porn.
Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every year, every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is...
The flight list is... You got to be really, 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 really careful if you go look for the flight list. There are so many fake flight lists. So many fake flight lists, okay? But there are details about the actual flight list, the manifesto, whatever you want to call it.
Reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it.
1 minute missing every night.
On Epstein.
That's it on Epstein. Of course it is. Of course it is. Of course. Yeah. At least I'm not on that list, I guess. What the fuck, dude? Oh. The Epstein list. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It doesn't exist. I was just reviewing nothing. When they did the first Epstein release or whatever, right? Are you still even talking about this? When they did the first Epstein release to the influencers, I said it was bullshit. I called it immediately. I'm like, this is 100% bullshit. Phase 1, and we got DC Drano in front of the White House with a bunch of other influencers holding it up and championing it and doing their thing. Like, get the fuck out of here. Pam Bondi. Epstein list on her desk.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by.
What was that?
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. By the way, Trump doesn't want to bring up Epstein, but like the last interview that we reviewed of his, during that press conference at Alligator Alcatraz, they mentioned Biden 42 times, right? And then Trump mentioned him personally 8 times, but the rest of the people mentioned Biden 42 times.
Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Okay.
A directive by President Trump.
It's sitting on her desk. Not the Epstein files, not the Epstein case, not the Epstein documents, not the Epstein investigation. They said the Epstein client list. And she said, it's on my desk. President Trump told me to review it.
Reviewing that, I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's.
Insane, dude. Was this the one?
There is no Epstein list. Jeffrey Epstein took his own documents that have not been disclosed to the public are being withheld by, which was raises outside of documents out are real. They have in the video has conducted.
Sorry, I'm looking for the Pam Bondi clip.
With prominent individuals as part of his actions. We did not uncover evidence that could.
I'm sorry, Carolyn Levitt. So this is the Karen Levitt clip, and she's not wearing her cross.
Fox News. Go ahead.
Her desk to review.
So that's why the conspiracy theorists are saying, oh, it's bullshit. Whenever she's not wearing her cross, she's lying. She doesn't want to lie with her cross on.
White House reporter asked the White House press secretary today to try and clean that up.
So what happened to the Epstein client list that the Attorney General said she had on her desk?
Well, I think if you go back and look at what the Attorney General
No cross.
said in that interview with your network on Fox News. Go ahead.
John Roberts said, DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen? And she said, it's sitting on my desk right now to review.
Yes, she was saying the entirety of all of the paper.
Yeah, all their donor. I mean, like, it's got to be rich and powerful people. 100%.
Paperwork, all of the paper in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. That's what the Attorney General was referring to, and I'll let her speak for that. But again, when it comes to the FBI and the Department of Justice, they are more than committed to ensuring that bad people are put behind bars. They have an operation going on right now called Summer Heat, which has our murder rate trending in the lowest direction in United States history. Their emphasis on violent crime and locking up violent criminals has led to the arrest of
So is all this a lie too?
14,000 violent criminals. That's a 62% increase. From
Oh yeah.
Period last
She's trying to change everything because of Sandra.
year. So this Attorney General and the FBI Director are committed to putting bad people behind bars where they belong. That they promised an exhaustive review. That's what they did. For any further details, I would refer you to the Department of Justice.
You can decide for yourself if you think that's a good answer or a bad answer or an answer at all. Obviously, this memo is raising a lot of questions, but also raising questions is that video that was included with the memo. Again, DOJ and the FBI say it proves that no one went into.
There was a judge last month that was apparently considering releasing. So there's some MLK assassination documents that are supposed to come out in 2027. And I guess he was considering releasing them early. I've seen press statements from the White House that say, hey, we're going to release the MLK, Martin Luther King Jr. files, but I haven't actually seen the files. Maybe they released them. I don't know. Maybe I missed them.
Epstein's cell at the SHU in New York after he was locked in on August 9th of 2019. They re-released the same video that we've seen, but just like before, if you watch closely, a full minute is missing from that video. Watch as the timestamp jumps from 11.
By the way, the minute was missing during when the Biden administration released this video as well.
58 and 58 seconds to 12 a.m. and 1 second. What happened at 11:59 p.m.? That has still not been cleared up.
So there you go. Getting wild out here, I guess. All right, let's close some of these. Older millennials back and lying more than ever. Let's go check that out. He also admitted that he pissed himself. He also admitted that he pissed himself. Here it is.
Lights come on, and about 3 seconds later, I'm tased. So if you guys think I resisted arrest, there was not even a cop in my backyard. They were on the other side of the fence, and never identified themselves, and then tased me. Like again, but I'm not looking to get a police officer in trouble. They did what they thought they were supposed to do. They used non-lethal means.
By the way, he's going to lie about this and say all of his charges were dropped. They weren't dropped. He violated probation. He pleaded guilty to violation of probation, okay? They gave him time served. So because he spent 2 weeks in jail, they gave him time served and ended his probation, basically. He still had to pay the money. And I don't know if he has to do the community service hours now or not.
And it's perfectly fine. You're saying the cops lied. It's not that the cops lied. It's like, I have the footage.
You know, she was talking about trying to get the body cam footage.
Oh, she's dying. She doesn't have to worry about it. I'm going to show the body cam footage.
She's fucking like, what?
I'm going to show here. And it's just so you all know, just so you guys can
listen.
Read it all for everyone. Here's what happened. They turned the light on. They said my name. About 2 to 3 seconds later, I was tased. And then, just for everybody to feel better about this, I pissed myself because it was.
Bro, you didn't have to lead with that.
Tased. And then, just for everybody to feel better about this, I pissed myself because it was 1:30 in the morning. I had been drinking.
By the way, the reason that he went and lived in 3 different Airbnbs while he had a warrant for 10 days was because he had his house professionally cleaned. It was listed on the market for sale, and he can't live in his house while it's listed for sale. Except now that he doesn't have a warrant, he's back living in his house that's for sale. That makes sense, doesn't it?
To feel better about this, I pissed myself because it was 1:30 in the morning. I had been drinking. I just woke up. I had to pee. I got put down on the ground. I hit the ground and pissed myself. So if y'all,
I'm trying not to laugh, but I look at AJ and Dom, and I'm like, damn it, you two.
Like, you're not gonna, but again, you're not gonna get anything special out of it.
I got a dark humor.
Get tased after drinking at 1:30 in the morning after you woke up. You're gonna piss yourself. Get over it, guys. And I literally said, "Oh fuck, now I'm pissing."
Sorry.
Probably shit myself too if I got tased. So I mean, like,
Megan's in here. Megan's in here too.
Hey, listen, shit happens.
Shit happens.
I'm just glad only piss happened.
That's what I'm saying.
If you don't make me a mod right now, we get these iconic people up here.
I don't know how to make you a mod.
Click my name.
Click him, and then make him a mod.
I'm literally clicking you right here.
No, so click him, it'll come up, and it'll give you add moderator option. Hold on.
So let's go check out some of his lies. So he's blaming this all. By the way, so the person that we follow, Bunny, right here, Bunny, is the one who was covering MCU. Not technically the older millennial, but he's obviously involved with the MCU. Was involved. Now they've distanced themselves from him, right? He claims that it was all bullshit charges, that they didn't have anything on him. They had to drop them all. And it was only because she called the judge 400 times. But the affidavit about his violation of probation says he didn't pay his fines. And he didn't show up for his probation meetings. And he didn't do his community service. And he moved without telling his probation officer. How could she make him not show up to probation? Or not pay $140 in fines? Or not do his community service? How could she make him do that? I think it's this one.
All right, so I'm going to get into more personal shit about me later, but oh, hello, everybody.
This one.
Long time no see. Now, apparently over the last couple weeks, I've been a topic of discussion here on TikTok. I wonder what people could be talking about. You know what? Let's just get the big shit out of the way. Yes, I was arrested. And yes, I spent almost 2 weeks in jail. But also...
So the reason he spent 2 weeks in jail is because he had to wait to see a judge, and they gave him time served over those 2 weeks.
Oh, yes, all the charges against me were dropped. And that's because...
They're not dropped. the resisting without violence has been referred to the state for potential prosecution. And the probation stuff, he got time served.
The charges that were brought against me were complete and utter bullshit. Were just fabrications of a complete and utter psycho here on TikTok who called the judge and the local police departments more than 400 times.
Again, first of all, I don't think she did. She would probably be getting ignored and harassment charges, right? But even if she did, that can't make you not go to your probation.
All to report crimes that weren't happening. You know what? I don't want to talk about her. I just hope that she gets the fucking help she needs, because there is very obviously something wrong with her.
By the way, again, she was covering that the MCU is a scam, okay? She was covering that the MCU is a scam. And as part of that coverage, I think it's valid to show that one of the owners, a 20% owner is what he says, of the MCU, has an active fucking warrant and is bouncing around through Airbnbs so he doesn't get arrested. Again, by his own account, he's like, it's not like I didn't have my lawyer go ahead and take care of this. I don't have a warrant. Weird.
Happy to be back. And don't worry, I'm going to dive into much more detail on everything that happened. But I just wanted to let everybody know that I'm still not going anywhere. You guys have doxed me. You've driven by my house and taken pictures of it. You've taken pictures of my license plate and posted it online. You've told everyone in America and all over the world my address. You've attempted and succeeded to get me put in jail, robbing me of my freedom and almost sending my dog to the dog pound. You know, I used to operate on this app like we just disagreed and we were here for a debate. But no, y'all have made it very obviously clear that you have no restrictions, that there is nothing.
By the way, this is the same guy that through some means that basically have to be underhanded because he's not a blood relative or Jolly, got Jolly's DD-214 and shared it all over the internet. Everybody remember that? When he's like, you're not a combat veteran. Remember that? And he was a combat veteran.
Won't do. So all you've
and he says he didn't lie to get it. He got it from somebody else who probably lied to get it.
Accomplish is forcing me to operate the same way. I hope y'all enjoy what's coming because you fucking asked for it. Oh, hello, everybody.
You asked for it. That sounds like a threat.
All right, so I'm going to get into more personal shit about me later. But first, we need to address this shit with Pam Bondi. Because to anyone with...
Let me turn down the air conditioner. I'll be right back.
Complete and utter bullshit. She now claims there's not a list. And to that I say... bullshit. Because that would make Ghislaine Maxwell the first human trafficker in history to be convicted of human trafficking with no victims and no clients. Like, that's not fucking reality. You don't convict someone of human trafficking if you don't have victims, and you sure as fuck don't convict somebody of human trafficking if they didn't have any clients. So her saying that there is no list is unacceptable. Like, there is just no way that the American people should ever be expected to accept that. This is not how this works.
So I don't think it's impossible to be convicted of sex trafficking without a client list, obviously. People get convicted of sex trafficking without a client list all the time. But I do think the way the case was built up, it seems like there's a client list that exists.
Works. Because if there's no victims and there's no clients, what the fuck did you present at trial? What could possibly have been said in that trial? What evidence could have been put forward that she was convicted? If you didn't have victims and you didn't have clients, how the fuck do you human traffic more people than anyone in history, but you don't know who any of the victims or any of the perpetrators are?
I don't think they ever said they didn't have the victims, right? But the victims were all minors at the time. I have not heard anybody say that we don't know who the victims are.
Like, Pam, that's not possible. And if that's the case that Pam Bondi is going to continue to maintain, she needs to be removed from office because she doesn't deserve that position if she's not going to be honest with the American people. Like, I've told people before, y'all think I'm like MAGA, support Trump, support everyone who works for Trump. No.
By the way, he never called out Trump. Who did he call out? Who did he call out? Was it Trump? Did he say that Trump should be removed from office for lying to the American people? No, it's Pam Bondi.
I support them if they do what they said they were going to fucking do. And Pam Bondi's not doing that. And that is unacceptable. All right, so I'm going to get into more... All right, so let's address...
You can't just make up evidence that doesn't exist because you lied to people and said it does exist, right?
of the myths that have been told about my personal life over the last couple of weeks. And there's going to be a couple of these videos because there's been a lot of bullshit spread about me online. So first off, I've seen no less than 100 videos of people saying that I got my 4th DUI. Yeah, that didn't happen. First of all,
he's got 2, I believe.
Well, a 3rd DUI in the state of Florida is a felony that carries a minimum 1 year in jail. I have not spent 1 year in jail because I have 2 DUIs. And guys, I have been completely honest about those DUIs. Anyone who's been following me for fucking any amount of time knows I have 2 DUIs. I've made no less than 30 videos about those DUIs, and I've even spoken at events to young people to talk them out of making the same mistakes I did. Now, all of that was years ago, and since then, there's been no DUIs.
I think one was like in 2021 or something. I can't remember. 2019, 2021.
Been no traffic violence. There's been nothing. So no, I don't have 4 DUIs. I have the 2 that everyone in the fucking world knows about because I've told everyone. So let's just fucking eliminate that bullshit right away. Now, second, all these people saying I have a parole officer. First off, parole is for people who've been to prison.
Probation.
They're for people who have committed felonies. And after you serve time in prison,
people use those interchangeably, even though they're technically different.
You can be released on parole. I have never been to prison. I have never committed a felony. So no, I don't have a parole officer because I've never been on parole. What I had was a probation officer. It's what you get when you commit a misdemeanor. And you
didn't go to 2 appointments, and you didn't pay your fines.
On probation. So when y'all saw PO, that's probation officer. Simple, tiniest bit of research. Could have told you that. Now, let's talk about why I was in jail. Now, the original reason the warrant was issued is that my probation officer was under the impression that I had violated my probation in various ways. And the reason she was under that impression is because an absolute fucking psychopath here on TikTok called
Again, she can't make you not show up. I was on probation. Someone calling my probation officer and saying, hey, he's doing X, Y, and Z. He's doing drugs. He's fucking channeling Satan through tarot cards. Does it make me not show up?
Called her more than 400 times. I don't know if she called this specific person that many times, but she made a lot of calls. So my probation officer was under the idea.
How would you not know who she made the calls to, but you know it's over 400 times?
That I had done a few things. The first being that I had moved without telling them. You're not allowed to do that when you're on probation. However, I haven't moved. My house is for sale, but yeah, I haven't moved. And I wouldn't have moved without telling them. The second thing they think I did to break my probation was change my job, which when I spoke to them, my job was logged as a content creator. I did that specifically because in case I went to a new contract under the other job I was working, I didn't want to have to let them know every time. So I logged my job as a content creator because I would always be that. So no, I didn't change my job and I didn't violate my probation that way. Now, I
don't even know if the change of job is listed on the affidavit. We're going to look at it in a second.
The reason they thought I broke my probation was that I didn't do my community service.
By the way, there's 8 reasons.
However, I have the records for all of my community service. I did 100 hours in total at various charity organizations, soup kitchens, and other facilities. So no, I didn't violate my probation.
Why would your probation officer file an affidavit saying you didn't do your community service if you did it and documented it? Did you not give it to them?
That way. And then they got to the one way they said I violated my probation that I actually did. And that was I missed a probation appointment. You're not allowed to do that.
2.
So they were valid to say I violated my probation that way. That's my fault. I missed the appointment. I didn't call and follow up. So that's on me. But again, missing a probation.
Why? That's so fucking silly, dude. He's going to say missing one probation officer isn't reason. That's violation, dude. They violate people on that all the fucking time. Missing one goddamn appointment, especially not calling and clearing it up and saying, oh shit, I forgot it was today. My car broke down. You know, I'm in the hospital.
My probation that I actually did. And that was, I missed a probation appointment. You're not allowed to do that. So they were valid to say I violated my probation that way. That's my fault. I missed the appointment. I didn't call and follow up. So that's on me. But again, missing a probation appointment doesn't normally land you in jail for 2 weeks. Normally, you just contact the probation officer. You set up
By the way, the reason he was in jail so long is he was picked up by it seems like the reason he was in so long, he was picked up by one department because he was in that Airbnb away from his house. Okay. Then, yeah, just for being late, they can violate you. But anyways, he was picked up by one. He had to see a judge there. Then he had to be transferred. You know, transfer orders take days sometimes to put in. Then he had to wait to see another judge. Then he got there and got time served.
A new appointment and you move on. But again, because of the online psychopath, they thought I was doing all kinds of appointment. Doesn't normally land you in jail for 2 weeks. Normally, you just contact the probation officer and you set up a new appointment and you move on.
But you didn't. You missed 2 and you didn't contact. This is easy shit, dude. Easy shit. Pay your fees. Show up. And if for some reason, God forbid, you're going to miss an appointment, call ahead or call right after. Something.
on. But again, because of the online psychopath, they thought I was doing all kinds of other shit, but I wasn't. So I got so missed the cover that creators who just are so badly want views have been spreading about me. But yeah, I think that covers it for this video. More to come. All right, so a common question I've been getting in my comments section is, if it wasn't a big deal, why was I in jail for 2 weeks? Well, the easy answer is bureaucracy, but allow me to explain. I was arrested Wednesday night or Thursday in the early hours, 1:30 in the morning on Thursday. And I was arrested in Pinellas County. My probation was in Hillsborough County. And the only time that Pinellas does transfers to Hillsborough is on Wednesdays. So right off the bat, because I missed that, I had to wait till the next week. And then I was transferred from...
I have not seen this. I just guessed.
Over to Hillsborough on Wednesday morning. Now, what normally would have happened is I would have gone to court on Friday, but Friday...
By the way, I want you to pay very close attention. I don't know if somebody has this clip or not, but when I was watching his live stream, I swear on this, I'm sure somebody recorded it. When I was watching his live stream, he said, the reason I've been living in Airbnbs is because I had my house cleaned and I didn't want to get it dirty and I'm selling it, and you can't live in a house while you're selling it, which is a lie. And he's living in it right now. But he said even though he went to an Airbnb, he made sure that the Airbnb was in the exact same county so he wouldn't be violating his probation. Now, what did he just say here?
And I was arrested in Pinellas County. My probation...
If you made sure, 100% sure, that your Airbnb was in the exact same county your probation was in, so you wouldn't get in trouble for being in another county, why were you arrested by a different county's police department?
Was in Hillsborough County. And the only time that Pinellas does transfers to Hillsborough is on Wednesdays. So right off the bat, because I missed that, I had to wait till the next week. And then I was transferred from Pinellas over to Hillsborough on Wednesday morning. Now, what normally would have happened is I would have gone to court on Friday, but Friday was 4th of July. So I had to sit in jail until Monday. And then I went to court first thing Monday morning, and that's where we resolved everything in about 10 minutes. And then bureaucracy took over again, and I had to wait at the courthouse for about 4 hours. Finally, got transferred back to Hillsborough Jail. And then it took them about another 3 hours to process it, and I got released right before dinner. And just to add a little icing on the cake here, when I got home, apparently from all the storms, I'd gotten a surge, and my air conditioner was broke, and it was 96 degrees in my house. When all I wanted to do was take a fucking shower, I instead had to call an emergency AC repairman, and it cost me $2,100 to have it fucking fixed. So that was just an extra little bit of the...
What a victim.
Universe being like, fuck you. But yeah, so the reason it took...
I'm sure, I was watching his live stream earlier, I guarantee you somebody recorded that. Because I thought, and the first thing that popped in my head is, why did you have to be picked up by a different sheriff's department and then transferred? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, thank you. Gary Gaffner was 10 six-packs. Glad you're back to make the hour and 15-minute drive to work bearable, because I hate idiots on the St. Louis highways. Thank you very much for the donation. That'll go into my, hey, I probably shouldn't have took a vacation this year fund. Thank you very much, Gary. I appreciate it.
So long, really, it's just, that's the way the government system works. It's not designed to go quick. It's not designed to cater to the person who got arrested. But I will say that everybody I interact with, whether it's in the Pinellas system or Hillsborough, we're amazing professionals. I have nothing bad to say about any of the COs, any of the sheriffs, any of the police. Everybody was super cool. I will say it definitely helped that the vast majority of them recognized me and said they loved my content. But they didn't give me any special treatment because of it.
I bet.
They were totally professional. So, good on Pinellas and Hillsborough for being really efficient at what they do. I wanted it to go faster, but that's not how the system works. So a common question... All right, so let's talk about the awesome shit we got going on in Tampa Bay this weekend. And that is the Student Action Summit put on by 30...
By the way, he's rented an Airbnb for content creators to come hang out with him there.
USA. This event will be running Friday, Saturday...
I thought... Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely wrong. I thought when you had probation, that had something to do with like a DUI or public intox or something like that. You weren't supposed to be drinking during that. The same way that if you're on probation for like drug use, you're not supposed to be using drugs. I've even seen people on probation for like other crimes, like a theft, and they're not allowed to consume drugs or alcohol while on probation. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's a Florida, a different state, something.
Saturday and Sunday, July 11th through the 13th. And guys, like the list of speakers, yeah, it just keeps going. And I mean, seriously, it just keeps going. And there's so many more that have been announced and even more that haven't. But I'm super excited about this because I think right now we got about 40 or 50 content creators flying into town. And it's going to be a blast. But also, it's a special treat for all the content creators that are flying in. I want to let y'all know that I've rented an awesome house down on the waterfront with a wide open indoor setup as well as 360 views of the water and a killer outdoor setup. And that is going to be available to all of you every night after the conference if you want to come back and have a great time. The place will be
upstairs,
hang out,
fuck out of here,
and actually get to know each other.
If every time you open TikTok to doom scroll, you have to make and post a TikTok.
Guys, don't fucking do that. Seriously, guys, that is terrible advice. What is with this generation and turning everything that they enjoy into a fucking job? Like, I'm lucky enough that I get to do this full time. Like, I feel extremely blessed that anybody fucking listens to me, and I'm able to make enough from social media that this is my full-time job. Seriously, for fuck's sake, stop turning everything that you enjoy into a hustle. Not everything that you enjoy has to be a hustle or a side hustle. You're allowed to just enjoy shit. And to all these people making all this content about like, oh, here's the secret sauce, here's how you get out of the 200 view jail. Guys, there is no secret sauce. You know how you get out of the 200 view jail? Make better content. Because I've said this a million times. The currency on social media is authenticity. Be yourself. That's how you gain a following. By being the real you. Because no matter
By lying through your teeth every time you open the app.
how weird or strange
We're going to look at the affidavit.
real you is, please remember that there are 8 billion people in this world. So no matter how strange your shit is, there's at least a couple other million people that are just as strange and want to watch you. Make content.
All right, let's go over to, let's do this. Let's finish this. Then we'll go over to Bunny.
Take it from somebody who's been on this platform for 4 years, has no problem building following.
All right, that's done. So let's go over to Bunny Funny, I think's her name. Bunny B Funny. Here it is. Let's see. I want to mute this because of music. This is where she recorded a 911 call to ask about. She's been pulling records. I think she's getting ready to sue Joe for some things.
Thank you for this. Now, to Joe or Joe Swallow or to whoever, can we just...
It says you don't have to believe her. It's not an opinion. Everything she said has been proved by facts.
For real right now. Can we just take a moment and just let common sense rule the day and be for real right now? Let's just take a look at what Joe's saying.
And that's because the charges that were brought against me were complete and utter bullshit. We're just fabrications of a complete and utter psycho here on TikTok.
Okay, Joe. They were complete and utter fabrications. What charges were filed against you, buddy? Because you went to jail on probation revocation. Those charges were filed, tried, and convicted. Now, are you saying that I lied to your probation officer to get you violated? Are you saying that I told him that you moved because...
If I can call your probation officer and lie to them and say, he hasn't been to probation the last 2 months. He missed his meetings. And they're like, okay, violation. What fucking probation officer do you have?
That's funny, since we look at the updated affidavit and we can see... Hold on, here, let me show you. Now, Joe, this is the amended affidavit that your PO filed.
All right. You will not change your residency or employment. Probationer failed to notify probation specialist of change of residence. On 5/5/2025, probation mailed missed appointment letters to probationer. On 5/15, the missed appointment letter was returned undeliverable, unable to forward. So that's why they said he changed his address, okay? They mailed him mail, and it was undeliverable to him. It says you were a report in person. He failed to report on 4/18 and 5/19 as scheduled. Probationer failed to notify the specialist if unable to report. So he missed 2 meetings. That's the second charge, or the second condition he violated. He failed to report twice, not once, without calling, twice without calling. You will live and remain at liberty. Probationer was arrested and charged with the offense of resisting officer without violence. Case number, blah, blah, blah. So that charge basically violated his probation, okay? The charge that he got, the resisting, violated his probation. Condition number 7. So there's 8 different conditions that he violated. You will pay cost of supervision. Probationer failed to pay the cost of supervision fees for the months of April and May. The same months because you pay when you go. And he missed those months and didn't pay. So he missed 2 months. He was behind 2 months. Condition number 8. You will be responsible for any special conditions. Probationer failed to initiate 50 hours of community service or provide proof thereof as of July 1st of 2025. So he may say he has 100 hours of community service, which is double what he's required to do of 50. But even if that's true, you didn't turn it in. Let me talk. I'll let her talk about it.
Convicted. Now, are you saying that I lied to your probation officer to get you violated? Are you saying that I told him that you moved? Because that's funny, since we look at the updated affidavit and we can see... Hold on, here, let me show you. Now, Joe, this is the amended affidavit that your PO filed. You see there under condition 1, the to-wit part? The reason that they said that you moved is because they tried to mail you some stuff for skipping out on your probation appointments, and it was returned as unable...
By the way, it says... on the 7th day of February 2023, with an effective date of 11/5/2024, placed on supervised probation for the offense of driving under the influence in the county of Hillsborough County, Florida, for the term of 12 months. So he was on a year probation.
Afford. So tell me, Joe, do I work as a Walmart shift manager or do I work at the post office in Largo? And I saw that mail come across for you where you had missed your probation appointments, and I decided to slap on it, not at this address. Did I do that? Is that how that happened? Why don't we just go ahead and run through the rest of them real quick and see how it is that I tricked them into issuing a warrant for you on false charges. So let's take a look at condition number 2. You will report in person. It says, to wit, probationer failed to report on 4/18 and 5/19 of 2025. So how did I stop you from reporting, Joe? Did I go to your house and physically restrain you and be like, no, you're not going to go report to your PO? How did I do that?
I wonder why the June date isn't on there. So the June date is what got him the warrant finally, right? The warrant came out in June.
Cause it to be a false allegation. And then condition number 7, you will pay the cost of your supervision. It says that you failed to pay April 2025 and May 2025, totaling $140. How did I keep you from paying that, Joe? I would love to know how I kept you from paying that. And then condition number 8, you will...
By the way, probation officers can make a killing. You're automatically assigned to them. You don't get a pick, right? You're assigned to them. You pay for every time you visit, and some visits are like 5 minutes. Have you been in trouble? Are you still working? You've been arrested? You do any drugs? You've been drinking? Whatever they ask you. All right, see ya. Some are like 10 minutes because you have to take a piss test, but you have to pay for that too. So when you get piss tested, right, drug tested, they make you pay at the time I did, it was like an extra $35, right? Mine was $90 every time I visited and an extra $35 if I got drug tested.
We're responsible for any
and I was in there for 5 or 10 minutes.
Special conditions. Probationer failed to initiate 50 hours of community service. So how exactly did I keep you from doing your community service, Joe? Again, did I come to your house and restrain?
And right before I came in, there was somebody in there paying $90. And right after I left, somebody come in immediately paying $90. Imagine how much money you can make an hour.
You? Did I work at every single community service place and prevent you from being able to sign up for community service with them? How exactly did I create false allegations on this affidavit from your PO? I would love to hear your response. Now let's move on to your next lie in this video.
Who called the judge and the local police departments more than 400 times.
400 times. 400 times. Okay, first of all, let's just look past the fact that there is no way you could possibly know that within a couple of hours of getting out of jail because FOIA requests take forever and even a judge would have to authorize a...
But let's say calling the judge 400 times is more likely to get you in trouble, a restraining order or something, than it is to get somebody's probation violated.
A subpoena or a production request for you to get that information, and none of that was filed in your case. Fucking 400 times.
Charges against me were dropped.
Still not being honest, huh, Joe? Let's take a look at the probation report. So this is the form they completed at your hearing.
Was it dropped?
Let's see here how it says.
All right, look. Strout Jennifer. It says plea. He admitted. Violation of probation admits. In violation, yes. Then it says how many days, months, and with credit. And circled is timed served. He had a revocation, right? So he violated probation. And it's been terminated. So it's over now because he did time served. Instead of saying on probation another 4 or 5 months, they said, okay, you did 2 weeks in jail, so you're not on probation anymore.
That they circled admit and violated yes on condition 8, and they revoked your probation and terminated it. So they didn't drop anything, dude. You violated your probation, admitted to violating your probation, they revoked it and gave you time served for the nearly...
What was condition 8?
To get PO filed. You see there under...
Condition 8 is the you didn't do community service, which is the one that he says he has 100 hours documented. That's the one they went with for his violation was condition 8.
Fucking 400 times. Condition 8, and they revoked your probation and terminated it. So they didn't drop anything, dude. You violated your probation, admitted to violating your probation, they revoked...
Unless it means on... 8 conditions, maybe.
And gave you time served for the nearly 2 weeks that you spent in jail.
You've attempted and succeeded to get me put in jail, robbing me of my freedom.
You put yourself in jail, Joe. You robbed yourself of your freedom. Your failure to properly abide by the terms of your probation resulted in a violation. That led to a warrant for your arrest that you then spent 10 days running from before it finally caught up to you, and you went to jail, but only after resisting arrest. You did it to yourself, Joe. Now, you could have come on the internet and you could have taken accountability and you could have said, you know what? I was scared. I didn't want to leave my job. I didn't want to leave my dog, whatever the reason was. You could have done that, but instead you chose to double down. Let's take a look at your parting words.
Hey, I hope y'all enjoy what's coming because you fucking asked for it.
Well, Joe, there's irony in that statement. See, in your video, you made a lot of allegations that would...
I don't think I know you can get on a probation officer's bad side, but mine was really cool, right? Mine was on drug charges, so of course the first few times I went, I got piss tested all the time. Then when I passed those, he was pretty cool. I'd get piss tested like every other time, and then like once every 3 times or whatever. And then for the last 6 months of my probation, he let me go out of town and work, and all I had to do was mail a letter in with the check made out to him and check some boxes that I hadn't consumed alcohol and I hadn't done drugs and I hadn't been arrested. And I was in a different fucking state working, just mailing my probation stuff in. He just wanted his money and you had to be there on time, don't miss appointments, that kind of thing. He was pretty laid back.
Allude to me committing criminal acts. And I've already made it pretty clear to you that I have no problem litigating against you, so I've not drafted the complaint. And tomorrow morning, I'll be calling down to the court to make sure that everything's proper and complete, and then I'll be filing that complaint. I've opened an invitation for you to reach out to me.
He's got to realize she does it for a living, but instead he tells all his followers that she works at Walmart, has no life, and this is the only thing that she's happy with is stalking him.
Deal with this privately and save face, but since you don't seem to want to do that, then we're going to move to the next best thing. And I can guarantee you, I'm going to crawl through every single piece that I can legally, and I'm going to expose you for every single lie, because this isn't about politics. This is about you being stupid enough to not take the L and then come back on the internet and make more accusations, baseless accusations, unfounded accusations, false accusations, reigniting the harassment that I am sustaining as a result of your false accusations. And in case you didn't figure it out from me enlisting my skills to do subject location and inform them of exactly where you were, I am 100% the kind of girl that is going to litigate against you. So buckle up, sweetheart, because I don't think you're ready for what's coming next. So keep your little Twitch and Discord parents coming after me in my comments. Keep trying to discredit me. Keep doing what you do, Joe, because every single time I see it, every single comment that I screenshot, every single one of your videos where you continue to make these accusations, I'm saving them as evidence. You're going to lose. And your dumbass swallowers are going to be the biggest detriment to your case. Thank you for this. Now, let's go ahead and knock out lie number 2. I called over to the court. No, they're not going to show proof because they don't have any, because it's a lie. It's just something that Joe made up when he came out. I mean, we all knew he was going to come out and make this big, oh, I was unlawfully detained. We knew he was going to make up some wild story to avoid taking accountability. But I'm okay with it. Like, you guys think that this bothers me. I'm just screen recording and screenshotting because I am, in case he hasn't noticed, 1,000% the kind of girl, the girl that's going to litigate against him. And every video he makes spewing those lies, every live where he makes those statements that are clearly defamatory and false, that's just more evidence for me in my case. Complaint's already drafted, getting ready to file it. No, they're not going to show proof. Obviously.
In essence, even a misdemeanor resisting arrest charge in Florida is a state-level offense because it's prosecuted by the state attorney's office, which is a state entity. The level of punishment, county jail versus...
You misunderstand the video. See, the video isn't about them referring it to the state for prosecution. I know they refer to the state for prosecution. The video is about the fact that he came all over the big internet when he got out last night talking about how they dropped all the charges. Why would they refer to the state if they dropped the charges?
I'm trying to get to that video. Hold on just a second.
Obviously, you know,
every
time I have to go gather evidence to prove that Joe is a liar, and a fucking shitty ass one at that, I learned something new and interesting about the situation. Join me as we see what I learned this morning whenever I called over about the 911 recording to prove that he's full of shit. Hang in there with me.
The report is not available for release yet.
Is it still an open investigation?
No, it has been referred to the state.
Oh.
It's been referred. This is on his resisting charge. It's been referred to the state for prosecution.
They're sending it to the state for... Whoa, wait a second. They're referring the charges to the state for prosecution?
That's correct, and it's not available for release yet.
Oh, wow. Okay, I had no idea. Joe!
That's why she can't get the documents and the body cam footage and stuff now, because they're referring to the state for prosecution.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. It's really not funny. Joe, listen, I realize you're struggling with some stuff.
And he said they dropped it all because they figured out it was just some crazy lady on the internet that called 400 times and I wasn't even in violation. Does that make sense? Like, if you could just call somebody's probation officer. You guys remember how hard they tried to get Phil violated on his probation, right? I bet you hundreds of people called and couldn't get him violated.
You know, you obviously need some rehab. I would encourage you to back off your PR spin tour. That is absolute bullshit, and I'm going to show that it is absolute bullshit. And take your recent sobriety and take advantage of it. Go get help, dude. Because if you keep this up, I'm about to dog walk your ass. You know?
So Joe's just lying about everything.
I've done that without following trends or checking what the biggest videos are and using like really great sounds or the most up-to-date music. Guys, let me just say this to any aspiring social media creator. If you just talking to your phone doesn't get you an audience, no amount of music, trends, or videos will.
I know it'll come out sooner or later. His live stream where he's talking about the Airbnb he stayed in. Older millennial. Let's do I know somebody records everything he fucking says. He was in a white shirt today when he was live. I think he should go get help. I think he's an alcoholic, a very, very, very bad alcoholic. But whatever. And if it is because other people were defending him, saying, "Oh, he's got PTSD, and you're doing this to a veteran," blah blah blah. Fuck him. He's a piece of shit. But if it is true, that's even more reason for him to go get help. Not to be out here fucking riding Trump's cock constantly. I'm sure somebody recorded it. It'll be out later. But it doesn't make sense that he would say, I went through all the effort to make sure my Airbnb was in the same county that my probation's in. And then the reason he was in jail so long was, I should have recorded it, was because he had to be transferred because he was picked up by a different county. How could those things possibly both be true? I don't know. You want to see the quickest case of fuck around and find out, guys? Well, maybe not the quickest. You want to see a very delicious case of fuck around and find out? Support the stream at coldbeer.fund. We greatly appreciate it.
What you gonna do, crybaby?
When you just say something like, I don't know what that's referring to.
Swear to God, what you gonna do, crybaby? With alligator.
I'll wear alligator Alcatraz merch if I want to. And what you gonna do?
So they're saying that alligator Alcatraz merch is pretty disgusting. And she's like, what?
With alligator.
I'll wear alligator Alcatraz merch if I want to. And what you gonna do, baby? I'm going to tell you FA and FO, okay?
For a concentration
so you have the day you deserve.
2 days later.
Are you feeling nervous?
It says the big beautiful bill passed. I'm so sorry.
Are you having fun? It's just
What's wrong? She mouthed. What's wrong? In God we trust. Her Trump hat, right? Two more days later.
This is crazy. I know we're not Kirk County. I know we're not Kerrville. I know we're not San Angelo or San Antonio. But hell, we're human beings. Help us. Give us what we need. We are a older community.
She's trapped in the Texas floods.
A lot of our people don't have insurance. They don't have money. Kind of a forgotten community for Travis County. We're unincorporated. We are their unwanted stepchildren out here, unfortunately. We had no warning. Nobody notified us. 2:30 in the morning, people that could get out came to this parking lot. Nobody was here. No firefighters, no police, nobody. We did not see Travis County sheriffs until 10 o'clock the next morning, who were rolling through and saying, you all need to evacuate. I opened a TikTok page, walking through H-E-B, buying non-perishable groceries, saying we need help. Get me the media, get me some official, get me water, get me anything we need, please. We have nothing. And I'm just trying to do whatever I can. I've had people stop me this morning and say, here's some more water, take it with you. Here's some more food, take it with you. Like, this is what we do out.
Same woman championing other people suffering. Now that her and her neighbors are suffering, she's like, why can't somebody help us? We're real humans.
Here's a community, but for God's sakes, Travis County, help us. Don't treat us like we're nothing out here, because we're not. We're human beings. We pay taxes out here.
We're human beings.
Don't treat us like this.
I've been liking, this guy does breakdowns of Trump speeches, so you don't actually have to watch them. Let's see here. I like his content.
I watched Trump's cabinet meeting today, so you don't have to, and here's my overview. Starting with the craziest, he said that the Senate passed a bill for sanctions on Russia, but they passed it in a certain way so that he has a choice whether or not he has to sign it, proving he does not understand the veto power of the presidency and is probably the reason why he signs every piece of paper placed in front of him without reading it. Okay, he mentioned Biden 9 times, Obama 4 times, and the fake news 8 times, and then the other members of his cabinet who were there mentioned Biden 6 more times. He said the big beautiful bill would have had to have been broken into 7 different bills to get passed, and some of those wouldn't have gotten passed because they had nothing that benefited any Americans in them. So he admitted large sections of his bill have nothing that's beneficial to any American except the ultra wealthy. Regarding the flooding in Texas, he called it a wave and said we've never had a wave like this except if dams have broken before, and he says that at one point there were so many helicopters in the sky that it became dangerous. He claims the tariff date always has been August 1st and that the media is just lying saying that he changed that. He claims that we're getting money in. We've already received $100 billion from tariffs, and then he says that tariffs are going to be starting on August 1st, and then he says that we pay other people's tariffs because it was being run by stupid people in the past. His words. Stupid people. He's now saying 25 million undocumented immigrants entered this country. I will remind you that if that was the case, 17,000 plus per day would have had to have come in every single day of Joe Biden's presidency. And then after that, he says that the wall is mostly built. He says the best way, not kidding, the best way to explain the targets that they were aiming for in Iran was to use a half a refrigerator door. He said take any refrigerator door, cut it in half, and that's what they were aiming at. And then he said that the pilots who were on a mission were informed while they were flying back that the news was already saying that they missed their targets.
Could you imagine this being true? That while the bomber pilots were flying back, someone got on the radio and said, hey, I'm watching CNN right now. They're saying your guys missed the targets. Did you miss the targets?
I don't know why he thinks they were informed while they were still flying, but apparently that's what he thinks. He's now saying it's 7,000 soldiers a week being killed in Ukraine instead of 5,000, and he also says that we have 52,000 soldiers in Germany. Quick Google search.
About 30,000.
35,000.
Oh, 35.
Like, just why lie about it? Just say 35. I'm sure a lot of you have already seen this, but Jeffrey Epstein gets brought up by a reporter, and he goes, Jeffrey Epstein, are we still talking about that guy? He's a total creep. And then Pam Bondi says that the minute that's missing from the prison security footage is due to a reset that they do every single day at the exact same time. So what we should see is she's going to provide us with evidence that that same minute is missing from every night's video, supposedly. He says every country is now willing to do whatever he wants because of the tariffs. Then he says that it's too time consuming to make a deal with every country. So what he's going to do is he's just going to decide on a number that our trade deal is going to be and just send it in a letter, which is what he started doing yesterday when he was sending those letters, which he called well-crafted. His templated letters he called well-crafted. He says that BRICS, the organization, largely broke up over the past year. I will remind you, BRICS had an expansion in 2024 and an expansion in 2025. You know, do I even need to mention him saying that gas is lower than $2 in multiple locations? Because he did. He says that Biden spent money like a drunken sailor, but then says, I would never say that. And then he starts talking about clean, beautiful coal again out of nowhere. He said that smart countries don't use wind turbines. He actually used the term windmill, which he's never going to get the difference between the two. But for clarity for you, I'm going to say wind turbine. And then he says that there's broken down, dilapidated wind turbines everywhere and that we're not allowed to take them down and they're a complete eyesore. You know, I pass by them sometimes and they're not an eyesore. They're quite cool, actually, to look at. He says there will not be amnesty for migrant farm workers, but then says that they won't be targeting them, but then says that they want Americans working farms. I ain't picking strawberries, I will tell you that. He says if pharmaceutical companies don't manufacture in this country, that he's going to put a 200% tariff on all medication coming in, essentially raising your drug prices 300%. You get tariffs, right? That is 300% increase in your pharmaceutical prices. He said to land in New York that pilots have to use air traffic control and radars from another country. He didn't mention which country, but supposedly to land in New York, you're using radar from another country. I swear to God, he said that. He says we don't need a high-speed rail between LA and San Francisco because planes do it better already and because the roads aren't even crowded so people can just drive. The roads in San Francisco and LA are not crowded. His words. He calls Mamdani a communist again, and then heavily implies that if he is elected, the White House is going to control New York City from DC. Oh yeah, and he forgot the term ranked choice voting and just says that new voting thing they did. He says that Eisenhower is the reason that there's wheelchair ramps everywhere and then praises him for that. I know no MAGA has made it this far, but if any of you somehow have, that is DEI. That is equity and inclusion for disabled individuals. Seriously, that's all it is. He spends the last 15 to 20 minutes just talking about the new decor that he's put up in the room. Pictures of presidents, apparently some silverware he's put out, flags, and lamps. When he says lamps, he's talking about the chandeliers on the ceiling, talks about how they had to put some new medallion on them or something. Spends 20 minutes talking about the decor in the room. And then finally, right at the end, he asks his entire cabinet to please raise their hand if they think that he should put gold leaf across the molding on the ceiling. Anyways, thanks for being here. Follow me if you're not. Like, share, comment. Those things really help, and I do really
insane, dude.
Really appreciate it.
When someone breaks it down. He's a crazy person.
I bet you 5 seconds of watch time that I can predict the future. Check this out. Note the time. We will be releasing a minimum of 7 countries having to do a trade tomorrow morning, with an additional number of countries being released in the afternoon. Thank you for your attention on this matter. This template will appear 7 times on his Truth Social tomorrow morning. That is what will happen, because this template is him telling people how he's going to do tariffs, which he explained today is that he's going to tell them how much we're going to pay extra to our own American government as some sort of threat to them. Right? So his threat to them is, I'm going to make the American people pay more. And he does it through a poorly worded template that has improperly capitalized words in here, is grammatically fucking horrible. And the only thing
I already see something that says with your country and countries capitalized. Countries capitalized everywhere it appears, apparently.
Changed between the world leaders that he sent it to was, like I said, the country name, who it's addressed to, and how much their tax is. Yeah, crazy. This is embarrassing. You must see that, right? Some MAGA who's made it this far, you must see that this is embarrassing. I bet you 5 seconds. I watch. They say post every time.
I read it earlier. It looks like ChatGPT made it.
Let me get on this app, so I will say Donald Trump's regime is trying to turn us into the same.
Dude, 300% tariffs is insane. You'll be paying triple the price, right? Or 200% tariffs on top of the 100% value already. So if it's a $100 drug, you'll be paying $300.
Type of theocracy that we just bombed Iran over. Just saying. I don't want to sound ungrateful, because TikTok is going to be paying me a lot. You ready for the next 7 fucking countries he's embarrassing us with in front of the entire fucking world with this stupid fucking templated letter? Tunisia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Indonesia, Bangladesh, Serbia, Cambodia, and Thailand. I will also note that the Thailand one, he put the same letter in the same fucking post twice in a row. Just same fucking post. It's there twice. And then for Bosnia and Herzegovina, he posted it, and then 2 hours later posted the exact same fucking letter again to them. If you're curious about the percentages on any of these, I'll give you all 14 countries he's now embarrassed us for.
He's just tagging them in his Truth Social posts.
Japan 25%, Korea 25%, Malaysia 25%, Kazakhstan 25%, South Africa 30, Laos 40, Myanmar 40, Tunisia 25, Bosnia and Herzegovina 30,
We pay the tariffs, and it doesn't affect the wealth. Like, if you've got millions of dollars in the bank, do you think a tariff affects you when you buy something off Amazon or buy your medication or whatever you're doing? Of course not. It's the people that are just scraping by that can't afford a 25 to 300% increase in the price of something they need.
Indonesia 32, Bangladesh 35, Serbia 35, Cambodia 36, and Thailand 36. And if you didn't see my earlier video where I made fun of how fucking stupid this fucking letter is, it's a template where he says, we have a trade deficit with you, and that just won't do because it's a problem of not only our national wealth, but our national security by having a trade deficit, because he doesn't know what a fucking trade deficit is. And then he proceeds to go on and
trying to put a 25% tariff on Japan, which is the largest foreign debt holder, like that holds the U.S. debt.
Say that
through bonds, treasury bonds.
How absolutely fucking embarrassing that our president is sending out templated letters to 7 different countries where he incorrectly describes how world economics works to other world leaders. So these letters, which he posted on True Social, went to Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Kazakhstan, South Africa, Laos, and Myanmar. He posted the one that he sent to Malaysia twice, just back to back. Fuck that one up. And again, it's a template, so they all say the same thing. They all say we have a trade deficit with you, and that just won't do. In fact, it says this deficit is a major threat to our economy and indeed our national security. But the absolute most fucking embarrassing thing is his lack of understanding of how anything in world economics works. Starting on August 1st, 2025, we will charge Myanmar a tariff of only 40% on any and all Burmese products sent into the United States. That is not how a tariff works, right? I don't know why he thinks he can just keep saying this. Through what mechanism would we collect money from Myanmar on their product being sent to the United States? A tariff is a tax on an imported good paid by the importer that is then...
We can't make the country pay it to send it, right? That's not how it works.
Consumer, I don't understand what's so fucking difficult for him to wrap his head around about this, because he's embarrassed.
It gets here at customs, and whether you ordered it or a giant mega corporation like Walmart ordered it, and whether it's one item or it's a million items, it sets at customs. It is evaluated for what it is, because tariffs can range, like electronics or batteries or pet supplies, whatever. They see what country it's from, what category it falls under, what that tariff is, and they let you know by letter, phone, something that you owe this. And to get it from customs, you have to pay that. If you can't pay it, let's say it was unexpected and now it's $100,000, you don't have, if you can't pay it, they store it for so long and you have to pay storage fees on it. The only other way to do it is, let's say you're checking out with somewhere and they already know what the tariff is, right? So you're checking out through Alibaba or whatever. They already know what the tariff is. You can pay it ahead of time. Some companies will let you pay it ahead of time on, like you'll see it on your receipt. There's so much for tariff, shipping and tariffs. And you can pay it. And then when it gets to customs, there's an accompanying document that says tariff has been prepaid. Here it is in this amount. We've already sent it to you. Here's your receipt. And then it goes on through and gets shipped directly to you.
Us in front of world fucking leaders.
But either way, you pay it, or the company that imports it pays it.
Because he is sending out letters that say, hey, I don't fucking understand how economics work, but our country's big, so fuck you. That's what he's coming with. God fucking damn it. And then, of course, he threatens them. If you respond to this by raising your tariff, we will raise our tariff again. And then trying to act like a world leader doesn't work when the rest of your fucking letter doesn't make any sense. But he says, we look forward to working with you as our trading partner for many years to come. If you wish to open your heretofore closed trading markets to the United States and eliminate your tariff and non-tariff policies and trade barriers, we will perhaps consider an adjustment to this letter. These tariffs may be modified upward or downward depending on our relationship with your country. You will never be disappointed with the United States of America. But you might be fucking disappointed when their world leader does not understand how fucking tariffs or world economics work. It's fucking embarrassing.
Of the price, of whatever the price is. So if you pay $100, you got 10% tariff, and you now pay 10% of that. Right? So if he puts a 200% tariff on drugs that are manufactured outside the United States, and your drug is $100, you're going to be paying $300 for it.
Embarrassing. Honestly, it's so fucking...
Now, most companies pass that along. Or there's a thing the companies can do, and they might do it. But this doesn't technically benefit you. Let's say Walmart let's say they have 2 items. Let's say a company only has 2 items. One of them is USA made, and the other one is made in China, okay? And they only have 2 items. They can subsidize, let's say the Chinese item has 100% tariff on it. They can subsidize that tariff across all of their goods. So instead of the Chinese item having 100% tariff, both items will have a 50% tariff on them if they were the same price, right? Both items will have a 50% tariff on them. So even you buying American made is going to be more expensive. This is something that car manufacturers will do, right? If they have, like, let's say Ford has some vehicles that are exempt because they're made enough in the U.S., right? They are not going to raise the price of, their Ranger by 200%. They're going to take that car that was produced in Canada, Mexico, or whatever, and they're going to spread it over all the cars they offer, depending on how much they sell, what the value is, what the tariff is, blah, blah, blah. And everything's going to go up. That way, they can still keep selling that one car, because if not, then that car is just going to die off if it gets 100% more expensive. They're not going to be able to offer that car anymore. So instead, they can take it and distribute it across everything they do, including U.S.-made stuff. But that doesn't really help you. It makes everything more expensive, including American-made stuff.
Embarrassing. Like, I can't. I just can't. How absolutely fucking embarrassing that our president is sending out templated letters to 7. Have you ever had a break?
This guy's name is Let's Discuss Something.
So bad that you started a third party? No, just Elon. I am saddened to watch Elon Musk go completely.
If you're a business, and let's say you value something at $100, but you only pay $60 for it from China, they do it on what you paid for it, right? You don't pay the tariff on the $100, you pay it on the $60, and then you mark it up and sell it for $100.
Off the rails, essentially becoming a train wreck over the past 5 weeks. He even wants to start a third political party, despite the fact that they have never succeeded in the United States. The system seems not designed for them. The one thing third parties are good for.
Oh yeah, I forgot Elon announced the American Party.
Is the creation of complete and total disruption and chaos. And we have enough of that with radical left Democrats who have lost their confidence and their minds. So I'll stop there. This idea that a third party is never successful is weird and untrue. If you're talking about like the US presidency, then sure, third parties aren't really the ones who are involved in that. But state and local government, Bernie Sanders is not part of either party. So that's one example. But they do work in drawing votes away from those presidential candidates. So depending on what the goal of your party is, the third party could be very successful without ever winning a candidacy. Let's continue. Also, just know when he says radical left Democrats, he's not just talking about the politicians. He's also talking about you, my dear. Republicans, on the other hand, are a smooth running machine that just passed the biggest bill of its kind in the history of our country. Yes, by dragging people along by their teeth, but whatever. It is a great bill, but unfortunately for Elon, it eliminates the ridiculous electric vehicle mandate, which would have forced everyone to buy an electric car in a short period of time. Gotta stop there again. We're intelligent people here. We have the ability to look these things up, right? There was no nationwide electric vehicle mandate. The only electric vehicle mandate that has come out is California has proposed an electric vehicle mandate to try and have all new cars sold by 2030 to be electric vehicles. That is it. Nothing nationwide. If you don't live in California, I
don't know why he thinks it's an electric car mandate or what he thinks it is. Who told him that? And then here's some rage bait before we go, chat. This is the clip I was looking for the other night and couldn't find it.
That Trump and Vance, Trump was a march to life that Trump and Vance, Trump spoke, I think, pre-recorded because he was already out in LA. Vance spoke, it was good, thousands of people, the National Mall, and Mike Johnson spoke there too. That was on Friday.
But wait. Did you see among the crowd was a white supremacist group, hundreds thick? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, good. I didn't see that.
Dad, are you
good?
Supremacist? Dad, are you a white supremacist?
Sure.
Okay.
What? Of course I am. Do I think whites are superior to other people intelligently? Absolutely, not a question about it.
And do you think you're an average?
What?
The crowd was a white supremacist group.
This was 5 months ago, by the way.
Hundreds thick. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, good.
I didn't see that.
Dad, are you a white
Whites
supremacist?
are supremacists.
Dad,
he's, by the way, if you missed what he just said, he said whites are supremacists. He meant he means they're superior. The supreme race.
About that.
Yeah, good.
I didn't see that.
Dad, are you a white
Whites
supremacist?
are supremacists.
Dad, are you a white supremacist?
Sure.
Okay.
What? Of course I am. Do I think whites are superior to
Look how confused she looks.
other people intelligently? Absolutely, not a question about it.
And do you think you're an average?
So the person says, like, listen, I get it. I love what I lost too, like your parents, but this is just wild. What necessary conversation is there to be had now? Someone says the problem is the whole thesis of this podcast is backwards. Trump isn't dividing his family. Trump being president didn't cause his parents to behave like this. People like his parents, particularly his father, are the reason that Trump is now president. They can't fix it because they believe this isn't their parents' faults. As much as I like them, Chad and Haley are platforming one of the worst people I've ever come across in their dad, and I can't support that anymore. It's hard for them to keep viewers after he says just wild shit, kind of unopposed. Like sometimes they laugh at him or say it's not true or whatever. But there's no consequences, you know what I mean, for the wild shit he says. Wild. All right. Now let me tell you a story. So I got the documents here, but they're kind of a dry read. This is the Phil Godlewski versus Nick Alvear. And Nick Alvear's fucking retarded. I hate them both. Okay? I hate them both. Nick Alvear is fucking retarded. So back in April, I believe, this was set for mediation today. Because we're after midnight, July 9th. Okay? It was set for mediation. And this judge specifically said, I want in-person mediation. Okay? The reason being is we're more likely to find common grounds in person than we are remote, like computers, Zoom, whatever. Okay? Now, the goal of mediation is not always to settle. It even says that in this document. Sometimes we know we probably won't settle, but it gives us an idea of how the case is going to be, right? And if you need to settle later on in the case because your case is getting destroyed, of what will probably be asked or required of you or blah, blah, blah. Okay. Now we've settled that. The judge put in this order, Nick Alvear, Phil Godlewski had to be there in person July 9th, 2025. Last week, Nick Alvear's lawyer gets an email. And it says, from the court clerk, I just want to make sure you're aware, we got mediation going on. It has to be in person. And I haven't seen anything that says that y'all are coming. And Nick Alvear's lawyer replies with, oh, sorry. You know, I've had a lot of stuff going on. And Nick hasn't told me exactly what day he's going to get here yet. What day of next week he's going to get here. I will let you know by the 7th. The 7th. July 7th. Nick Alvear does not even make an attempt to show up to in-person court-ordered mediation. And he gives Phil's lawyers a 2-day notice. I get it. You can't be at mediation. I get it. Okay? 2-day notice. 2-day notice. So Phil's already in town. Phil already flew from wherever he was at, made it here, blah, 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 whatever. Now, let's get to why he claims that he can't make it to mediation. He says it's too expensive. That it could potentially cost him $1,500 to fly from his new home in Hawaii to northeastern Pennsylvania, round trip, and hotel expenses. Okay? And that also his job doesn't allow him to travel, where he's his own boss and he claims he's currently making a documentary. That one's a little out there, okay? But as part of the remedy, imagine I told you, I said, look, there's no way I can afford a new car payment. Mariah needs a new car. Her car's older. I don't want it to break down on the kids. There is no way that I could afford a new car payment. But I have a solution. I'll buy 2 new cars. Does that make any fucking sense? Because Nick says he cannot afford to travel from Hawaii to northeastern Pennsylvania for in-person mediation, but suggests that they do 2 separate mediations, in person in northeastern Pennsylvania. He also asks for an extension, right? Don't know what an extension would do. If you can't afford it now, can you afford it in 30 days? 90 days? That's weird. Ask for an extension. That doesn't make any sense. Or to cancel mediation because it's not likely that they're going to reach a settlement. Now, I will give this to Nick's lawyers. I don't feel like they are going to reach a settlement, okay? They emailed back and forth here. Let's see if I can find it. Latest correspondence served as his Honor's request during last week's oral argument to counsel for the parties above captioned matter regarding possible mediation. On behalf of the defendants, we would like to be willing to participate in mediation between the parties and have no objection to the same. Particularly, defendants would like to be assigned to a federal magistrate judge to schedule, manage, blah, 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 all that stuff. Now, please see draft letter. I'd like to send the chambers. If I do not hear by you Friday, February 7, 2025, I assume that your client has no objection to me sending the same. Tim. As stated last week, that's not going to do it. I advise Nick, assuming some of the comments survive a motion to dismiss, the likelihood of any surviving motion for the summary judgment absent additional verifiable information suggesting falsity of your client's underlying sexual relationship with Miss Bree is very, very low. And let's pretend for a second that certain comments do move to a trial. I'm confident, this is Nick's lawyer talking to Phil's lawyer. I'm confident that a jury is not going to feel bad for your client or share any empathy. In fact, a scenario where a group of 12 northeastern Pennsylvanians hear all the evidence of this case, side with your client, and award damages is so remote, so seemingly impossible that I cannot advise my client at this point to do anything other than pay a... So this is what Nick wanted to do. Nick's lawyer wanted to do. Pay a nominal nuisance amount. This could be like $1. This could be like $500. Not a nuisance amount for just being a nuisance. Okay? Pay a nominal nuisance amount or offer a general acknowledgement of where he got the information included in his documentary. So say, like, I got all this information from the Scranton Times case or whatever. Again, if your client has additional information or facts that change this position, please let me know. And I will speak with Nick about it. Otherwise, let's just have the court make a decision on the motion. As such, I re-ask you my previous question. May I just send an amended letter indicating that the parties are not likely going to reach settlement during mediation, and for the court to just dispense with the motion to dismiss? Let me know. Now, here we go. This is what Phil's lawyers send back. Ryan. That was a response to this, by the way. Ryan, which is Nick's attorney. This is what it'll take to settle. This is what Phil wants to settle. Nick is willing to nuisance amount, potentially. His lawyer's saying this, but maybe he doesn't agree with it. But his lawyer's saying we could potentially settle with a nuisance amount. He'll admit that the information he got was from Scranton Times or wherever. And that's about it. That's all he's going to do. Not pay attorney fees, not pay a large sum of money. We don't think that a jury is going to side with Phil if it does make it to a jury. True. Phil's lawyer says, Ryan, this is what it'll take to settle. 1, a video recorded public apology, which we will review for approval before it goes public. So Nick apologized on video. Phil gets to review it, say if it's good enough or not, and then Nick has to post it to all the social medias. 2, an admission with an apology that the accusation is insinuated, that the accusations insinuated by Alvear were nothing more than assumptions and that no court has ever found my client guilty of any sexual crime. 3, these are ands, not ors. And 3, all legal costs incurred shall be paid back with interest. We are amenable to paying a certain amount up front and the rest on court order payment plan with interest still accruing until the debt is finally repaid. All references all references to my client, his family, and certain others, I don't know who certain others would be, shall be removed from Alvear's social media if Alvear creates an alternate account using an alias or continues to mention my client's name after this agreement. The lawsuit will commence. Anything less than that is unacceptable. This is probably the one that he has the greatest chance of winning just because of some of the comments that Nick Alvear made, right? But you've also got a jury to has to be sympathetic to Phil to win damages. They might agree that Nick Alvear saying that Phil doesn't have custody of his kids because a judge was afraid he was going to fuck them is defamation. Do they feel sorry enough for Phil to say that's worth, $300,000 or whatever? Okay. Keep going. Tim, this is back from Nick's attorney. Tim, this is not at all what we had discussed on the phone or my understanding of our conversation. First, regarding the screenshot you sent, I have no knowledge of that or whether that was my client or not. I have forwarded along to confirm one way or another. Second, I don't think I ever stated my client wants to settle at any point in our time. What I had said was that I assumed your client would accept some form of apology and is not solely interested in monetary recovery. Phil, not interested in monetary recovery? I doubt it. An assumption with which you agreed, theoretically at least. I then told you that my client was not going to pay a large sum, both because he doesn't have it, but also because he does not believe your client will end up recovering anything in the case. I also said that he was not going to do anything ostentatious or outlandish or public as it relates to any sort of statement to Mr. Godlewski. So he's refusing to do any public statement. You said you had no idea what Phil wants, but agreed with me that we should explore that to make sure we are not wasting our time. In fact, I gave you a hypothetical example of a situation wherein if Phil agreed to resolve the matter by accepting a statement from Mr. Alvear, admitting that all his information comes from the Times Tribune case, and that he was a bit, this is a quote, a bit out of line in some of his comments, which was belted and suspended by a manual release and settlement agreement, including confidentiality and non-disparaging provisions, both ways, so neither one of them could talk about each other. That was something that was not out of the ballpark of reasonability. How you took away, it is clear that he would apologize to your client is beyond me. Nick is not going to apologize. But in any case, I do really appreciate you working towards this discovery. Phil's demands are, unsurprisingly, exactly what I thought they would be. I hope that Attorney Bowers explained to him how Judge Saporito made it very clear to Phil that should we go through discovery and nothing else is divulged from your client regarding verifiable evidence proving the falsity of his corruption of minors plea, he has a very big problem at the motion for summary judgment phase. So the lawyers already told Phil that unless he has some type of, in discovery, some type of new evidence is going to come out, that he's probably not going to make it past summary judgment. The same way the Scranton Times was dismissed on summary judgment, right? Like, unless you got some type of smoking gun about your guilty plea for corruption of minors, you've got a very big problem when we get a motion of summary judgment. Also, I'm very much looking forward to discovery, as there have been many recent allegations from folks in my community that your client, Phil, is messaging other girls younger than 18 seeking out possible sexual opportunities. Remember the guy? The guy Randy? Remember the guy Randy that put Phil's chat on there and then Phil deleted his Facebook? said it was somebody else. I did not bring any of that up at oral argument because it would be improper at that stage. But if we are going to move towards discovery, I would be exploring such allegations inasmuch as it goes towards credibility and is expected through Federal Rules of Evidence 404B. At this point, I do actually believe that a mediation would be a waste of time for both of our clients, especially given your client's demands. I can tell you without authority that Nick would not be agreeing to anything near what your client is requesting. As such, let's think about sending the court an amended letter requesting that the court just dispense with a motion to dismiss, and we'll go from there. Please let me know if you believe the same thing. Best, Ryan. So again, Nick Alvear's probably got a pretty good defense here. But the motherfucker won't even show up when he's supposed to be there. Like, Phil has a chance on some of the things Phil on Nick said to win. Like, you can't say that a court won't let you have your kids because the judge was afraid you'd fuck them, right? You can't say that. But what would he actually recover? Is a jury ever going to be on his side? Because when they find out what did happen in his past, probably not. So not a lot of money there, right? They're going to award a lot of damages there. Nick Alvear has a pretty good defense. Like, I just followed the Scranton Times, this, that, and the other, at least for his documentary part. But this motherfucker won't even show up to court and gives a 2-day notice. Ryan, as of late September last year, your client was harassing mine, and now he wants to settle? Nope. So they wrote. So Nick's lawyer asked that one, that they allow him to meet by Zoom. 2, they do 2 mediations. 3, they do away with mediation altogether. And Phil's lawyers argue against that, saying if he can't afford to go to 1 mediation, how's he going to afford to go to 2 mediations? It's not our fault. He moved to Hawaii. And by the way, he did that months ago. He could have called ahead and said he wasn't going to make it. This has been in the works since like April. I don't know why the fuck we're finding out on July 7th and we're supposed to meet on July 9th. It doesn't make any fucking sense. His move was back at the April 15th is when we heard about it at the status conference. A court may conclude that failure to make any request well in advance indicates that all of Alvear's stated reasons are pretextual. It seems like he's lying. It's not that he forgot. It's not this. It's not the other. They didn't file a document at the right time because Nick's lawyer said it's because he uses a MacBook and he was the only person watching his 3-year-old kid at the time, so he couldn't get it in before midnight. He had to make copies of it and send it in the next day and missed the deadline. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't make any sense. And then kind of the judge rules weirdly. So it says the 8th day of July 2025, following a teleconference with counsel on July 7th, 2025, and upon receipt of consideration of the defendant's motion, document 47, and plaintiff's brief in opposition. So Nick Alvear motioned for those 3 things to do 2 mediations, to do a Zoom mediation or to throw it out. And then Phil's lawyers argued against it. And it says the defendant's motion is denied in part and granted in part. The defendant's request to appear remotely at the July 9th settlement conference or alternatively conduct 2 settlement conferences at different dates or alternatively to continue the July 9th settlement conference are denied. So they're not going to have it. They're not going to do 2 different ones. And they're not going to let him appear remotely. Nick. The defendant's request to cancel the July 9th, 2025 settlement is granted. So it did get canceled. And the settlement conference scheduled for July 9th is canceled. On or before July 16th, 2025, Phil is directed to file a letter with the court detailing his travel expenses incurred to attend the settlement conference. That was scheduled for July 9th, 2025, along with supporting documentation itineraries. So this will not only be like Phil flying back home, because I'm sure he was out of town. It'll be like his flights, his travel, any cost to hotel. It'll be the gas for his attorneys, the casework they did before coming here, all of that. Okay? All of that's going to be included with his documentation and itineraries. His lawyer's cost and the travel cost, all that shit, right? And then it says, within 1 week of plaintiff's docketing his letter detailing his travel, Phil submitting this letter with travel expenses, Nick shall show cause as to why the court should not assess costs or sanctions against the defendant. So they're probably, unless he's got a really good fucking reason, they're going to make Nick for missing this appointment with not enough notice. I mean, 2 days, dude. You're supposed to have it on Wednesday. You're going to tell them you're not going to be there on Monday, and they thought you were coming the whole time. So 2 days notice. They're probably going to make Nick pay all of Phil's travel expenses and all of his lawyer's expenses for prepping for all this and doing all this stuff. So there you go. Nick Alvear, neither one of them can get out of their own goddamn way, dude. They're fucking idiots. They're fucking idiots, dude. How are you going to tell people you work for yourself making YouTube documentaries and that your work keeps you from traveling back? How are you going to tell people you just bought a home in Maui and you can't afford to fly to Pennsylvania? Nick Alvear is not like fucking Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or even Phil level rich. Nick Alvear does really damn well with his subscription service. And I think because people pay for it and then forget it. And he's probably got thousands of people subscribed at $5 a month, right? He makes pretty decent money every month coming in. And all he has to do is put up his bullshit, whatever. And then even other people, that he steals documentaries, right? Like he stole that one that was called Quiet on Set, like the Nickelodeon sexual abuse stuff. He just stole that and uploaded it. And I think people subscribe and forget about it. It's kind of like my Patreon. God damn, I need to do my Patreon. I've been so stressed out about everything. I'm way, way, way the fuck behind. Thank you for being Patreon members. I promise I'm not trying to fuck you. But like, god damn, Nick. All you had to do was fucking show up, bro. Show up. We know you're probably not going to reach a settlement. Phil wants a public apology. You're not doing a public apology. That right there is enough not to reach a settlement during mediation. But they said specifically you had to be there in person. And you've known since April, 16th or some shit? What the fuck? He used to live in Nashville. It would have been a lot cheaper for him to fly from Nashville to Pennsylvania, but he moved to Hawaii to reconnect with nature and take some time off. But they're both fucking retards, right? Phil can't keep his goddamn mouth shut, like trying to make up lies about Bree did this and her friends did that and private investigators and I never did that. They had it out against me and the place where I bounced my check was trying to bully me and all this shit. And Nick Alvear can't even fucking show up. All right, guys. It's 1 a.m. here. I'm glad to be back. I'll try to be back and doing videos more often. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Please consider supporting the show at coldbeer.fund. I feel like an asshole for saying it, but I spent money on a vacation I probably couldn't afford only because, the lodging was free. But we would appreciate any donations that you can send our way. Thank you guys for being here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Love you. See you. Bye. Show up when the court tells you to show up, by the way. I'm sure the judge is pissed.
About if this douchebag happens to...
They've been planning it since April, dude.
You don't have the fork and balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the fork and balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott.
Here we go. I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss 'em off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them beds, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6 cents for the stupid shit. Where my true believer? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord, head to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like fool in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, eating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby eating lizard people, alien sex.
Yeah, we gotta go back and cover Bert. He's getting donations that nobody sent. Trying to move them before the bill collectors take his money. We gotta cover poor Bert. Poor old Bert. Somebody told me, I don't know how true this is. Somebody told me that when he gets a donation, he's got to move it before people he owes money to figure out it's in his account, or they'll just jerk it out because he owes so many people, so many businesses money, and he's tried to use that account to pay before, and it's always overdrafted or whatever. So as soon as it comes in, he's got like a few minutes, he moves it to one of his friends' accounts. Like, how insane is that? Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it." Wait. Stop. Some guy yelled at me on TikTok and called me homosexual today. Stop. And then his account got banned. That was weird.
Seriously.
His name was Faded Creation. Is that it? Faded.
Here we go, I think I started.
What was it? Faded. Faded Creation. He's got a Twitch channel. The reason that I even found the guy, I guess, in the video was suggested to me. All I put in his comment was 8647. Then I started making fun of the fact it looked like he lived in a meth lab. He had like blankets over the windows for like blinds and shit. And he got debunked by Mr. Global a long time ago, and then it started suggesting me his videos. And he said something like, "I can't believe these liberals would ever wish death on the president." And I typed in 8647. He flipped the fuck out, dude. He's like, "I'm sure you got a dildo you fuck your ass with every night in your nightstand." His account got banned.
Parasites, his leeches, with all their secret meetings, teaching all you fucking cretins about baby eating heathens. Believing in reason with no meaning is bullshit. Will Bird motherfuckers out here busting the grifts. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them beds, you know that stage is
It was weird.
better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them beds, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up.
Have a good night, guys.
You don't have those guts because you're a pussy.